Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll start in another minute. We're just letting everyone into the room, so please bear with us for another minute. Thank you.
Himanshu, please do the speaker view when you are when I'm speaking, so that comes on board.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just starting shortly. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes.
Hi, friends. During the session, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want us to pick up, please put it in the chat box and we will address it right away. Thank you. Hi, friends. We're going to start in another minute. We're just letting everyone in. Just give us another minute and we'll get started. Thank you.
I wish everyone would put on their cameras. Beautiful women faces.
I know, and all dressed up would be lovely.
And even if they are not, it's okay. The women, even if they are dressed or not dressed, are the most attracting species in this world. So I think we need to keep seeing them. They think we can't hear anything. Someone has just put that in the pen.
Friends, if a lot of you are not registered with us and are on our chats or are in the room, so if you want, you can put in your email address in the chat, or you can message it to me, and we'll put you on our mailing list. So in the future, you know what all is going to be happening and what other activities we have at WIT prepared for you. So in case you want to hear from us regularly, you want to be part of our events and all of that, please put in your email address and we'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
And I would also say this here while we are informally talking to everyone, is that, more and more women who've not joined in, please do join in, because we are not only going to have these webinars, we're going to have, offsites, we are going to be traveling, we are going to be doing a lot of things, maybe country to country travel also. So we need all of you to register so that we can actually make an impact on other countries and not only India. So please keep registering. We've got a lot of will be happening, and not events as events. There's going to be a lot of educational entrepreneurship programs, and for you to make more money. So we need to do a lot of things to work together. So if someone who's not already registered with us, please do. And actually, again, I'm going to say this, that even when we are asking you to register, so even we can have 5 people from the same office registering. We can have everyone related to this industry: travel, tourism, aviation, hospitality, your staff, your employees. Every woman is most welcome to register on this platform, because we are wanting to promote the entire womanship and move forward. It's not only about us, it's about, with every us, there will be many more us. So that's how we need to move forward. So I think we can start now. I think another, what's the time? 11:08. So maybe 11:10 sharp.
Yes.
Thanks.
That'll be great. Today, we also have a lot of you joining us from the International Fraternity of Medical Students. So we're very happy to have you on board, because we feel that very soon there will be a lot of collaboration that will be needed between medicine and wellness and tourism. So I think that if the future generation is already part of the team tourism, it'll be great. So thank you all. Thank you for being part of this webinar and choosing to partner with us. So yeah, I wanted to just bring that in also. It's lovely to have young professionals who are going to get into this field already interested.
Devika, can we have Miss President back on board, please?
Yes. Just a minute.
So, thank you. Thank you. I think we'll start.
Yes, we're ready.
I'm sorry for this, but like I said, that these are the challenges actually. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're okay.
Okay, great. So good morning and namaskar and welcome. It's a pleasure to have all of you on board. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jyoti Mayal and represent this forum and the industry as the president of the Travel Agent Association of India, the premier nodal, largest and with more than 2,500 members and the oldest travel and tourism association. TAAI has always been a leader association established in 1951 by a handful of visionaries. What a vision it was that today, not only is the current team fulfilling all dreams, but moving beyond. My colleagues and I are happy to bring a change in this ecosystem. When I took this chair after a gap of almost 2 decades for a woman to be the president in TAAI, I aspire to bring women more in focus. I saw a huge gap. By adopting leadership roles and creating more entrepreneurs in rural and urban India. And this dream of mine has made me reach out to all present here, from the huge spread of travel, tourism, hospitality, aviation industry, to ignite the spark in them, to get more and more empowered. That is what TAAI's unique initiative, WITT, Women in TAAI and Travel, will represent. I would also like to add here that under the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, we at Travel Agents Association of India are working on extending our best possible support to the government by way of celebrating 75th year of independence as a year of women empowerment and acknowledge their contribution towards the growth and development to our esteemed nation. WITT, we call it, aims to leverage the Indian travel and hospitality industry to empower women with the opportunity to fulfill their economic and individual potential while growing the sector. We would lay emphasis on skill development, more flexible work balance, and greater options for entrepreneurship, employment opportunities to women along with mentoring and networking workshops and events. Like I said, not only in urban but rural India too. Our goal is to make tourism a sustainable livelihood model for women's economic empowerment. We are looking at working to ensure that women's contribution to this industry is fostered, recognized, and celebrated, because that's what women are all for. Over the years, women have not been able to find their rightful place in the travel and tourism industry, and we are about to change that with your support, the powered ones. Yes, you are an integral part of this mission, and we need your help and many more to join by enrolling with us to make it a success for the right cause. My most favorite quote, which says, and I've said it many times, that woman is a full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. Coming to today, I'm proud to introduce to you the Women in Travel Trade, our first initiative, Coffee Conversations by WITT and TAAI, fostering wellness, promoting tourism. Wellness, as you all may be aware, could be related to physical, spiritual, social, occupational, cultural, and much more. Remember that wellness is not simply the absence of illness or stress, but a broad practice of internal and external behaviors, even when experiencing challenges. The last
physically done and I'm very challenged. Give me 2 minutes. I'm just going.
The last 2 years, can you please mute yourself? The last 2 years have been most challenging and have taught us a lot about ourselves, our strengths, and our capabilities for that. Putting wellness into practice means striving to be well overall. All around the world, people are operating elements of prevention, self-actualization, experience, and mindfulness into their daily lives. Wellness tourism is defined as travel associated with the pursuit of maintaining or enhancing one's personal well-being. From 2015 to 2017, the wellness tourism market grew from $563 billion to $639 billion, or 6.5% annually, more than twice as fast as the growth of tourism. Anna Diamond, president of the Wellness Tourism Association, says that while wellness travelers can be anyone, the bulk tend to be higher educated women between the ages of 30 and 60. And that means we all. Saying that now, let us move to take our interaction forward. And for that, we have with us our esteemed, most empowered, successful, famous personality and guest, Dr. Manjari Chandra. Dr. Chandra, please accept my heartfelt gratitude for agreeing to address the women in travel, tourism, hospitality, and aviation. For attendees, I'm pleased to share Dr. Chandra is a functional nutritionist, speaker, and author, having worked for hospitals of India, namely Max Healthcare, Manipal Hospitals, Columbia Asia, etc. She's also authored a book, a very known famous book called Eat Up, Clean Up. That's actually what we need. She is registered as an expert on mygov.in website promoted by Honorable Prime Minister of India. She's an official nutritionist for HelpAge India and has been contributing as a writer and speaker for health articles and shows in print and electronic media. She has won many, many awards and accolades, and we are so proud that we've been able to get her here on the dais. Our woman in TAAI, Tina Kanuga, Director, Bhatija Travels Private Limited, chosen on this panel today to moderate this very interesting session. She's been the part of the industry for over 34 years. I think I know her since the same years, but more so being a clinical psychologist by profession and her diploma chosen as the physiology of the human brain. A woman who's not only brainy, but lovingly witty and fun. Devika Jeet, Director, DDP Group, my young journalism head, the Track Talk. She really model rose the sentiment that leadership and motivation matter in bringing women of all ages forward to lead. Because tourism provides women with more opportunities for workforce participation, leadership, entrepreneurship, and empowerment than many other sectors in the country. It's now time for me to move on in just 2 minutes and minutes more. And before I call upon Dr. Chandra, it is called Coffee with Wit. So let us raise our cups and mugs for a picture. Can we have everyone with our cups? Sorry. I can't see. Yes, there it is. Let us all raise our cups and mugs for a picture to a morning toast and start the session with fun and smiles and help power each other. Thank you once again. Can we have the picture, Dr. Himanshu? I hope someone's taken the pictures and from all screens. And also to just one saying this is power to the women, and we will be doing many, many more shows like this. And we will be involving each one of you to come forward, to empower yourself, to power yourself. Thank you once again to make this interaction fun and with learnings. Enjoy and God bless. Dr. Chandra, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mahal. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mahal. That was really wonderful. And the way you put the tone together, I'm very glad to be here today. Of course, I didn't know much about what the initiative that you've taken and what is a TAAI essentially until Dr. Talwar gave me a rough idea, and Devika was very kind to explain what it is. But I'm glad to be here. And eventually, as you were mentioning, Ms. Mayal, that eventually we'll also come to physical interactions, because after a point, you know, all these virtual sessions are great to connect, but once things open up, I'd love to meet each one of you physically and interact and come and speak to all of you, because eventually that's how human interactions are best done. But anyways, today on the virtual platform, I practice functional nutrition. I just set the tone by saying a couple of things, and as suggested, and also it's my view that let's keep it interactive. Let's have a lot of questions flowing in. Let's talk to each other. That's always the best way to do it. Just wanted to set the tone with a couple of things. The first being that till date, what you see as modern medicine today, what you see as being practiced in the, I work for Max Hospital myself, the largest group of hospitals in North India, and for many years, and I worked for many others like that. But what you see as modern medicine today is essentially not the right form of medicine. It's something that has been existing for the last 100, 150 years, mostly driven by American research and mostly driven by pharmaceutical research and other forms of things that have happened in that space. There's of course been a lot of technological development, but it is very ironic that we are probably at the top of a medical research, but we have the most sick population that we have ever seen in the last 100+ years. So it's such an ironical situation that we know medicine so much. There's all forms of treatments available, both preventive and therapeutic, but still we have a country where we are probably the leaders in heart disease, diabetes, and now with infection around us, we are battling disease on a daily basis. So there's something wrong with modern medicine. And that's when a lot of modern medicine doctors got together to understand what really is wrong and came up with some other form of medicine, which is based on the same modern principles of medicine, but it's called integrative medicine, where you really don't use something called pharmacokinetics, which is drugs to manage diseases and symptoms, or surgery to cure a disease, but look at root causes of diseases. To give you a simple example, if somebody has hypertension, instead of popping a pill to keep the blood pressure in place and doing it all your life, there's definitely a way to go back downstream and correct what presents upstream. And that is what the whole new concept of medicine is. It's actually going to be the future of medicine. It's also called functional medicine. I got introduced to it 5 years back. We went to America, we were attending the AFM conference, and then we started practicing it. Today, thankfully, a lot of people are practicing it in various forms, and they're able to treat people completely. So people can be free of diabetes, free of hypertension, free of cancer. And the second bit is they need not even be there, so a large population can know how not to get these diseases. The last bit that I'll speak is a concept of epigenetics. So all of us have heard of something called genetics. That is that as human beings, we have genes that come from our parents and our forefathers. These genes carry messages. They also carry disease. For example, if you have diabetes and you go to a doctor, he'll always ask you, do you have it in your family? Do your parents have it? Do your uncles have it? Because genetically, we predispose to disease. But you'll be astounded to know that it's only 20% of disease presentation that is determined by genes. 80% of controlling whether you'll get a disease or not is in our own hands, and that is known as epigenetics. That science of your environment, of your thoughts, of your food, of your movement, of your social interactions, of your mental health, of what toxins you're exposed to, is called epigenetics. And that's something that's much more powerful than being born to a family where there's cancer or diabetes. So it doesn't matter if you come with a family which has disease, as long as you live your life the way you're supposed to, with the right type of interactions, the chances are they'll never end up with the disease, so that's the power of integrative wellness. And that's what we're here to discuss today. So I'll leave it at that. And I think we'll open the floor for people to come in. We can have questions and we can talk to each other.
Thank you, Manjari. Let me just go forward. And that was absolutely fantastic. Let me just start this and introduce myself as Tina Kanuga, one of the women of TAAI. It's been a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you, Ms. President. But from what we've been through since the year of January 2020, this world has been hit by something unreal and unheard of, the COVID-19, something we could never thought or imagine would come by us. And firstly, in the beginning, this felt like news for us, watching TV channels, something that has come from a place called Wuhan in China on the world map. And it spread to different parts of the world. And then, you know what? It hit India. And the next thing we know is yippee. No more school, no more offices. It was work from home. Schools closed, offices closed, shops closed, malls closed, restaurants closed, cinemas closed. Then there was no outgoing. There was no socializing. Social distancing became the new norm. And life changed completely for all of us. It became a complete whole new vacation for all of us. And a new world became forward for all of us, something called digital technology. And we finally got hold of you to come forth to this panel, Dr. Manjari. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate you being here today. So I've made a very few list of questions for you and divided them as physical, mental, hospitality, and post-COVID. Now, what we've done here is in India alone, we have so many wellness retreats to just create and build our inner selves and probably find the persons that we never were. In our daily hectic lives that we go through, if we Google something on a web link called medical travel market, and you see these pictures and you see these resorts, you will be astonished. So to see these kind of properties and the layouts that they have, it puts the king's palaces to shame. It's amazing how it is. And let me tell you, if I am finished with this presentation and my questions to you, by the time I'm done talking, we will have this crowd of people who is with us presently here today. Firstly, thank you for being here, all my representatives. They will be packing their suitcases. And by the time you are done answering your questions, ma'am and Ms. President, and thank you, Devika, they will be in the car en route to the airport, probably issuing their tickets online. That's how it's going to be. So something as simple as the kind of lives that we lead here, whether it's COVID or not COVID, we need to kind of go into this journey of holistic rejuvenation, of basically relaxation and rejuvenation of the mind, body, and spirit, getting into serene locations, getting deep rests within our body, our natural ways of living. The journey of self-discovery is what we need to really get into. And it's not just yoga that helps us to get into this. We need to pamper ourselves. We need to indulge and heal and nourish ourselves, which is what people like you are here for. And to interrelate with doctors and bring in tourism into this. When I was offered to come on this panel and get myself related to you, the first thing that hit me was, how do I relate tourism to just one wellness retreat? And when I found this out, I realized that we have closed mostly international borders around with COVID-19, but now they are opening up slowly. But in our country alone, the amount of venues that we can offer, like Goa, Rishikesh, Dehradun, the Himalayas, Kerala, Bengaluru, Pune itself, which is like few hours away from where we are. We have the Taj group of hotels, we have the Ananda, we have the Jiva spas, we have Jina, we have Somathiram, we have the Vana, Ashiana, Atman, Nathan, we have the Leela Palace, Udaipur, and all of them offer holistic centers. They have spa resorts, mindful retreats, medical tourism retreats, wellness resorts, medical retreats, medical spa resorts. And each one of them, if as much as the tourist hotels would offer therapeutic treatments, just bringing it across to various tourist hotel categories, 4 simple categories like refresh, rejuvenate, where they would offer yoga sessions in the morning, where they would offer meditation, morning classes. We would have probably every alternate room category coming forth to those classes. Holistic wellness, where there would be revitalization, the healing and therapeutic treatments, the Ayurvedic Panchkarma, which is something so new, where disease that is inside you is a sorrow to the human mind. Being a clinical psychologist, I can explain this to you. And it's time where trained experts like you come through authenticated therapies to heal the human mind. That is something that we need, okay? Digital detox, where you let go and take a break from the stresses of the world. You detox and leave everything behind you and take the world of serenity and revitalize yourself with mindful moments. So that is what we need with us at this point of time. That is what we need to let go and move forth. So what I have done right now is I have divided certain amount of questions forth. And coming forth to these questions, I have two physical questions for you right now. And then we move forth to a mental question. And if you could assist me, let me tell you, for those who've had COVID, for those whose relatives have had COVID, friends have had COVID, let's not just relate it to COVID per se, but to our mental states, to our daily lives, to our hectic lives, where people have turned around and said, you know what, not right now, I just don't have the time. And people have said this so much, so many times a day. So if you are ready, I'd like to put my questions forth to you. And I've put this so beautifully, picked up questions from my friends, from the people on this panel right here, from the people in the crowd right here. It would be lovely for you to address these questions for me.
I'd be glad to, Tina, for sure, if you could.
Thank you. During this pandemic, people have sat home together. There's been a work from home. Children have gone through online school programs. There've been abuses in the body. People have just sat home, binge eating all day, gone to the refrigerators at various intervals. They've just wanted to be snacking all day, eating all day. There's been no physical activity. Gyms have been closed, main promenade, walking areas have been closed. There've been no socializing whatsoever. Do you think there is an increased demand here to visit wellness retreats? Like I mentioned to you earlier, even visiting regular hotels this way. Do you think that regular hotels should begin to offer morning meditation classes, regular yoga classes, acupressurists? How about nutritional foods, nutritional drinks? And even regular travelers who do not have illnesses, who do not have large stresses in life, would take up the opportunity to go on vacations. Because I met somebody last night over dinner who said, I am just fed up here. I am going away to Goa for a week with my dog and I'm driving. They've literally said this to me. And my first reaction was, why won't you issue a ticket from me? She says, because I'm driving. I just want to drive and I want to get away. I have 3 people on the panel here from Taj, the Oberoi, and the Leela. And I'd love for you to answer this question for me.
Yeah, thank you, Tina, for the question. I want to put it in perspective here. So what you spoke about as wellness destinations, we know of the Atman and the Pemas and the Luanas and Anandas, a lot of them, of course. Most of them are, however, limited to, as you said, yoga, meditation, a little bit of detox therapies that we do.
Yes.
But if you had to understand, if we all had to understand how the human body works, as you correctly said, it's an integration of various facets, yes, from the mind, body, spirit, soul, everything. But if you look at it at the human biochemistry level, for example, let's say I have a big cut on my hand. When I have a big cut, even the water that I use to take a shower or the body cream that I put starts hurting, which normally wouldn't. So what is happening is when we have something called inflammation or injury in our body, everything starts behaving funny to the body and everything
Sorry,
starts.
Manjari, your line is cracking.
Yeah, it's raining heavily here, maybe because of that. Can you hear me, Tina?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, we're back.
It's
Yes.
raining heavily, so maybe because of that, the rains are really heavy now here in Delhi. So no worries in that. So what I was trying to say was,
Okay.
we all have underlying inflammation in our body, which means that we expose ourselves to various things that cause the inflammation to be smoldering all the time. Now, this could be things like stress, it could be bad food, it could be lack of activity, it could be, poor sleep, it could be too much to deliver. So all these things that we live with, and of course the pandemic has only topped it and made it worse. All of these keep our body in an injured condition or an inflamed condition. And that's smoldering inflammation. And this inflammation sadly cannot be treated by medication. The only way you can reduce injury or internal inflammation in the human body is to give it the opportunity to heal itself. And that opportunity essentially comes from the things that you mentioned. It comes from better food. It comes from a place which is more close to nature and less a concrete jungle. It comes from the opportunity to eat real food, the opportunity to be mindful, do meditation and yoga, go for serene walks in the woods. So all these simple things actually can reduce inflammation. And there is enough research to sort of, put a period there, which means that there's enough research which shows that when we change our social interactions, for example, from being individual people, when we start living in communities, our inflammation level goes down. When we change the way we eat, from eating on the go on the tube or the metro or the car, when we sit down and eat with family, the bonhomie of eating a meal with your friends and family, all these things are known to be anti-inflammatory, not just at the mental level, but actually at the physical level, because they're able to reduce our inflammatory markers. So when we do biochemistry, for example, if I'm checking somebody's CRP levels or, typically ESR, any inflammatory markers, they go down when you change these things. So there is a physical impact of changing your surroundings, of eating better food, of being in a more mindful place, of being closer to nature. And wellness retreats and going out of this concrete jungles that we live in is probably one of the easiest ways to achieve that sort of anti-inflammatory space, And definitely this is the big thing. And as you correctly said, people are just waiting to catch the next flight and go to a place that they could go to as soon as things open up a little. However, let me say one more thing, which is that many times people look at any form of symptom that they experience and look at the solution as a stopgap, which is the minute they have, for example, acidity or feel depressed or low energy levels, physical manifestations of anything which is either psychosomatic in nature or very physiological in nature, they tend to jump into simpler solutions, which is either popping a pill or going for treatments which are not really great for the human body. So therefore the better option would be to if possible go to a place which is, as you said, the wellness retreats, the ones that you named, and many more that will come up. So this is definitely going to be something that will grow. And I myself am associated with a large wellness retreat thing that we are doing, but this is clinical retreat. This is essentially for people who are recovering from cancer and serious autoimmune conditions. So they go there instead of living in cities and completely use nature, meditation, walks, better food, and other therapies that we do with them, which are cleansing therapies and gut restoration therapies that can help them come back to better health. So definitely, this is something that will only boom and for good and for everybody's good, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Manjari. I think your first question has already answered my second question, which related to the mental state of somebody. One of my very, very dearest friends, again, related to his mental state. He lost his job, shut down his company, and went into a complete mental depression. This was related to the hospitality industry, related to catering. One such person, from your perspective, how would you treat him? Exactly what you said in your first question. He was catering to almost 3 to 4 functions a day, 1,000 people, 1,500 people a day, with relation to where the government stepped in and said 50 to 60 people per function. And then this human said, I can't manage it financially. And one fine day decided to just end his life, let go his loved ones, let go his past, and just said, I can't manage my life financially. He had several people that he had to cater to and look after them. And he just now was caught at the right time and people saved him. His loved ones saved him. And he just went away and he is at his farmhouse at this point of time. I'm choking while speaking to you because he's one of my dearest friends. But you know what? He's alone. He's in a secluded farm. He's eating the right kind of food. He's taking his morning walks, exactly what you related in your first question. And I truly understand now what you mean and how you explain to us what kind of food we eat and what it is. Please speak to us more about his mental situation. How would one resolve his mental situation and how long would it take for him to come back to his life? Her camera has been frozen.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Dr. Manjari has spoken.
Yes.
Just give it another minute, I think.
Yeah, she'll join us.
Yeah, that's fine. It's the networking, no problem.
Yeah.
Those are the challenges when you have a virtual meeting.
I guess so. Yes, yes.
It's what the world is coming to. We need to move on. We need to start meeting with all the right protocols. And that's what we are telling everyone. Otherwise, this industry will all be going to the farm and we'll all be there. We need to move, I think, and start.
We'll fight it, Jyoti. We'll all fight it.
Yes, we are strong. We will. We are a resilient industry as such. So I think we need to be more resilient and more support each other. I think this is the time for us women to support each other and see how we can work together and take out the best in each other. You know, women have not always, and I say this very loudly here while Manjari is joining in, that women are not always, I mean, they're always there, but somehow they are not encouraged at many places. And sometimes they're not appreciated. And I think we as women need to do that, because I think somehow even the women get more flattered when a man gives her a compliment, and she's not so flattered when a woman gives her a compliment. So I think we need to change this whole perspective and feel much more better when a woman is giving you, because I think that's basically competition. That's how it would be. You would take it, and I would feel much happier if a woman gives me a compliment than a man. So I think all these things are thought processes, are the way we function in life, the way we are jealous of the women. And I'm saying this loudly because I think these are the things which come to my mind when I talk to the women. They keep saying that, oh, that woman is jealous of me. Just that woman does not appreciate me, or she's doing this for others to be seen. And I hear that so much, those comments, and I would actually put it in inverted commas and saying bitchy comments about women. I think it's time we move on. We treat women as equals. We move forward with that so that we have a very good thing. Great, we have Dr. back, so let's continue.
Thank you, doctor. How would
Yeah,
you treat my friend now, mentally?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, Tina. And sorry, technology always fails you at the last moment, but yeah. So couple of things. One is that, you know, in our body, there is a nerve called the vagus nerve, which is the second biggest nerve that we have, which you must be knowing, which connects your gut to your brain direct. So we have a gut-brain axis. There is an axis which directly connects your brain to your gut. That's why we also call our gut the second brain, you know. So many times what happens is a lot of people experience extreme mental health issues or depression, not because of the situations that are around them, but also because of the human physiology which is failing them. Which means that, for example, if there are certain conditions like in your friend's case, which are causing extreme depression or
I think we've lost Dr. Manjari again. We'll just give it another few seconds and she'll be back in.
Yes, yes.
It's really pouring in Delhi, so that's acting as that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Lorraine's.
So I was trying to say, so
Well,
what
just, sorry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, yeah.
I was trying to say was that when people experience extreme mental health issues, their body also accordingly reacts. And therefore, there are various other ways of approaching a person with severe depression or any form of suicidal tendencies or psychological conditions. Besides talking, of course, and counseling is a very important part of it. And we call it cognitive behavioral therapy. You know that
That's
our
right.
brain is plastic, they have neuroplasticity. You can change the way your brain behaves. You can improve the synaptic joints in your brain by doing certain types of activities. So counseling and activities are one of it. But the second thing that can be done is essentially to give these people tangible things. For example, change the way they're eating, include some supplements, some bioactive compounds, some botanicals, some herbs, which allow the body they feel tangible changes, which then manifest into behavior also. So because the human body is one, and it's direct, what you're thinking is directly connected to how your body is functioning and the biochemistry and bioregulatory mechanisms. We can go backwards and address the biochemistry using nutrition, using, of course, cognitive behavioral therapy, using botanicals and herbals and supplements, and that gives them some tangible things to look at, and that will improve their mental health, of course, and especially for people who have come back from such a severe event where they tried
Yes.
So I think support is not just limited to counseling, it is limited to a complete thing. That is why every disease, whether it is psychological or physiological in nature, needs a complete treatment platform with all the elements taken into consideration, and that's how we do that typically.
Also, many women during this phase have gone into like a binge eating. They've put on an extreme amount of weight with mental and physical stress. How do they detox and come back into shape?
Yeah, so this is quite a wish list sort of a
This
thing.
is, yes.
We'd all
Oh,
wish
yes.
to. Having said that, we sometimes complicate our own lives and make things extremely difficult for ourselves. However, human health and existence is quite simple and raw. If we could, we try, and when we talk to our patients now, I mean, I come from a nutrition background where we were treating cancer patients in IPD setting and ICU patients, but now I work more in the wellness, holistic wellness space. And when I talk to our people now, the first thing that I tell them is that you may treat your food as one of the ways of losing weight and becoming healthier. However, that's just one part of the story. There are many more parts: how you sleep, when you sleep, what you're thinking when you're going to bed, your bed routine, how you wake up, how you look at the sun, how you interact with people around you, what you do through the days. That's why this whole concept of running in the gym for an hour is really not the best concept, but being physically mobile through the day is what is actually human beings need.
It's all
And
about
in
you.
addition to that, and in addition to that, being mindful. I think many times this binge eating, the word that you just used, is one of the disorders of eating. When we study eating disorders, binge eating is one of them. And it basically originates from a concept of being mindless, which means you're not putting your conscious mind to what you're doing, and you're eating by default, not in a designed setting. So all these things, if you want to get back to being fitter, healthier, better versions of yourselves, you have to regulate your sleep. You have to look at what and who are you meeting and interacting with, and how you spend your entire day. And I think one of the things is being mindful. Everything that you do, be extremely careful, cautious, and mindful of that. From eating a food, to going for a walk, to speaking to your children, to, everything that we do. If we could do it more mindfully, we could do it much better, and that is a learned behavior. Last bit, actually being mindful does not human beings. Being angry and being reactive comes naturally to us. So the other bit, being non-reactive, being calmer, being mindful, is something that we have to learn and train ourselves. So that is also an important thing that people should, start doing and thinking about.
Well, I don't know how many people are listening to you on this panel, but I'm shaking after listening to you. Now I have to be really careful about life ahead of me. Honestly, I have one last question for you and then over to Devika. Post-COVID, the symptoms here that have hit a lot of people is loss of smell, loss of taste, loss of appetite, mostly respiratory issues, digestive issues, but most important is hair loss. Post a month, post 2 months, people have had their hair falling out in bunches. Something that has come about is eat honey and salt, eat Ayurvedic have Ayurvedic treatments, do scalp massages, but most importantly, eat plenty of colors in your diet. It's called the rainbow diet plan. What is a rainbow diet plan? If you could bring this out to people, I'd really like to thank you post this, and I'm done, and we can open the floor to questions and say goodbye because we are on oxygen for time.
Yeah. So of course, I'll talk about the rainbow diet, but because you also mentioned that, people have been losing lost a lot of hair. So because there are a lot of women around here and they know that post-pregnancy, post-delivery, we experience a lot of hair loss. That's something that happens to everybody post-delivering our children. The reason it happens is because there's a huge hormonal shift in the body. Progesterone, estrogen levels are leveling out. The cortisol is postpartum depression causes a lot of buildup of cortisol in the body. So all these changing insulin, cortisol, thyroid, and androgenic hormones cause a lot of hair fall. So hair fall is not just related to stress. It is actually related to way your hormones are aligned to each other in a big way. So one thing that can be done for people who are losing a lot of hair and experiencing a lot of mental health issues is to look at where the hormones are wrong. Are you excessively stressed, building up the adrenal hormones? Are you in an adrenal fatigue? Do you have very high levels of cortisol? If yes, address that. Do you have insulin resistance because you're eating a lot of simple sugar, which is causing the insulin to spike all the day? Look at that. Is it that your progesterone, estrogen levels are not leveled because you are not really eating the right micronutrients, zinc, magnesium, selenium, that is required for thyroid and progesterone functioning? So look at all that. And if we are able to look at these, we'll be able to put the hormones in balance. That's one. And the second part, as you said, is the rainbow diet. Thankfully, eating healthy is not rocket science. It's as simple as it gets. Just 5 basic principles. 1, eat from your own house and your own kitchen as much as possible. That's rule number 1. 2, get back to real food. Anything that industry puts on your table, anything which is packed, tinned, canned, processed by category, avoid it. Eat real food, food which came from the plants. Third, try and eat ancient grains. What has happened is in the last 50 years, we're only eating wheat and rice. We've forgotten what are actual grains. I'll give you a simple example. I lived in Bangalore for many years, and Kannadigas never ate wheat because wheat never grew there. They ate jowar and ragi and unpolished rice. That was their staple. And now you look at people in Bangalore, they eat bread and pasta and pizza. That's their regular food. And chapatis, which is not what they were supposed to eat. So we need to also get back to our food, which was our ancient food or our cultural food, which is where we belong. The fourth thing is, many times people think that eating clean is very costly, not realizing that falling sick is 100 times more costly. So put in a little effort to get cleaner food, healthier food, cook it yourselves, because there is nothing more therapeutic than cooking your own meal and eating it your own self, or serving it to your family. And the fifth bit is that food is not just protein, carbs, fats, micronutrients. Food is actual Jeev Atma. It's real energy, you know. So if you're eating dead food frozen in the refrigerator for 10 days or coming out of boxes and tins with preservatives and chemicals, don't expect to get any life or health out of it, you know. If you want to get life, eat food which is living, the plants and the vegetables and the fruits and things that have not been polished in industrial settings. That is the real food. If we can do those basic changes in our food and the rainbow diet, as you said, eat the colors, because what are colors? They're basically substances called antioxidants, phytochemicals, anthocyanins, you know, lot of these flavonoids, lot of these small chemicals that plant have that make us healthier, stop aging, correct a lot of inflammation in the body, remove cancer and tumor causing cells. So they are very strong, small chemicals, which are plant-based chemicals that you can eat out of colorful fruits and vegetables. So these basic things, if you're able to do with our food, besides the sleep and other things, I mean, being healthy is really not such a difficult thing. It's just, you know, picking up the basics and getting back to them.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Manjari. Sorry. Thank you so much. Tina, do you have any more questions?
No, I think we're done. We're on a shortage for time, Devika. If you can take over, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Manjari, you know, I've actually been receiving a lot of questions on WhatsApp, and a lot of people have been texting me directly. So I can't take over all those questions, and hopefully we can maybe discuss them later and reply. But there were two questions that came up that were very, very interesting, and I just quickly want to ask you those. One was about the functional medicine that you talked about earlier. And can we relate functional medicine to yoga and Ayurveda? Does functional medicine go back to the principles of Ayurveda? And can is that a way we can further promote India or tourism to India by relating them all together? What is your view on this?
So actually, functional medicine is an amalgamation of various forms of therapies and medication and medicine or medicinal, views which come from traditional and old medicine principles. For example, Ayurveda, naturopathy, Tibetan medicine, Chinese medicine, all of it become a part of the modern medicine and combine together to create this beautiful, beautiful integrative space. So the tenets of Ayurveda and homeopathy and yoga and naturopathy are, of course, a part of integrative medicine. So when we do integrative medicine, we use botanicals, we use meditation, we use pranayama, we use yoga. All these are very important parts of functional medicine.
Perfect. Thank you. That was very insightful. Thank you. One absolutely last question I'm taking is, when is it safe to live with COVID? That's a very interesting question that came up, because everybody gets a cold and a cough. They go obsessive. They're getting lung x-rays done. They are getting blood tests done. Where do you draw the line? Where do you say that this is just a common cold or this is COVID? Like, when do you come to that conclusion?
That's an excellent question, Devika, as you said, but sadly, it doesn't have a very clear-cut answer. What doctors know and researchers know of today is that it's something new for us also. Every day we're learning more about it. We're seeing newer ways in which it is manifesting it in physical bodies and in various people. However, human beings are highly intelligent and we have a great perception that we are born with, so if you could do a balancing act of not getting paranoid with what is going around us and at the same time being cautious, so that little balancing act of being careful. There was a word that you used, Tina, which is social distancing, and I completely want to, I wish this word would never exist ever, because human beings need to be social. We don't need to be distanced from each other, So there has to be a little balancing act where you be careful. You don't let your guards down completely, but you try and understand that being paranoid is not the way to live this anymore. We have to come back to understanding that this is what we've been exposed to. This is the reality. We have to learn. And although there was a lot of talk about immunity, I think I must have done at least 100 sessions or more about immunity in the last 1.5 years, because that became the most searched word on Google. But even today, people do not understand it in totality. Immune system is a part of your own body. The more healthier you are, the more robust your immunity. So it's again not rocket science. If you don't want the infection to hurt you or your family, just become stronger and healthier, eat the right food, sleep at the right time, do the right things. And it's quite doable essentially. And I think therefore the question of how you can live with COVID, or when should we start, living with COVID, is we're living with COVID. We just have to be a little careful, but more, I think, intelligent. I think if we are more intelligent than the virus, we can beat the virus, So yeah.
Devika, before you say a thank you, because I know time is running out, I need to ask her one very interesting question, which has been put up by our management, by our office bearer of TAAI. He says this is a coffee session. How much coffee do you think is good during the day? Especially since we are zooming on calls the whole day. Alternate to sugar and coffee, do you think Splenda or Jaggery is good? So as this is a coffee session, he says, I would love to ask that question. If you could just answer that.
Surely, Ms. Mayal, I'd love to. I'd like to say something about sugar before we move to coffee. Sugar, as we know today, has only existed for 80 or 100 years. There were no sugar mills 80 years back or 100 years. The white sugar and processed sugar we know today, and the white flour also, which is actually sugar. You could eat a bread or eat 4 teaspoons of sugar. It's one and the same thing. So sugar, as we know today, has been introduced to human life only in the last 50, 100 years. So therefore, obviously, it's a horrible thing to consume. So the less we do sugar, the better. There are better versions of having sugar, unrefined jaggery, maybe okay, wild honey, not the regular honey that you get in stores, maybe one. And of course, using plant-based alternatives like a stevia. I mean, there's a stevia plant in my house. You can use the leaves to boil your tea, and the tea is sweet without adding sugar. Yes, so these are always good alternatives. And as far as the coffee is concerned, there is a word in medicine called nootropic, which means any substance that actually increases your brain capacity. Caffeine is the top nootropic. It is known as the top substance that increases the human brain function. However, it still needs to be done in moderation. And it also, caffeine tends to dull us if we overdo the caffeine. So it's good to do caffeine in small amounts in the right way, not with milk and sugar, definitely, but just beat up some coffee, that Dalgona coffee, which is just beat up coffee and add some warm water. That's the way to have coffee, but not too much of it. But caffeine is not as bad as people make it out to be. It's actually a stimulant. It's actually something great for your brain.
Dr. Manjari, it's never the last question. We all wait for doctors. So can I just hold you for one last question, please?
Surely.
Infants that are born during COVID, how can we increase their immunity in this world?
So, there's a very famous rheumatologist, immunologist. I wouldn't name him, but he's nominated for the Nobel Prize this year. He came up with a video which became very controversial. He put it somewhere on Instagram or YouTube or somewhere, where he spoke about the concept of immunity. And he said that you don't become immune by wrapping yourselves in a bubble wrap. Children do not become immune by staying away from all infections. They become stronger and develop immunity when they fight infections. वो हिंदी में कहावत है ना, गिरते हैं सर, something, who ride a horse only will fall and learn to ride it again. So with children, it's good to expose them to some amount of, in fact, US is talking about the mud diet now, really getting exposed to real mud and ground, which in India, we still have an opportunity to, because we still have earth around us. So I think children, the one way of building immunity is not to keep them in over-sterilized environments, which we are doing. We are sanitizing, over-sterilizing things, not giving them a chance to fight an infection. So how do you think they'll build immunity? So calculated risks are good risks, not going completely crazy, but calculated risks for children is the only way they can build up immunity, besides eating the right food, of course.
Truly appreciate the answer. It'll help a lot of people here today.
Thank you, Dr. Manjari. With this, I'm just going to conclude quickly. I would like to start by thanking you, Dr. Manjari Chandra. Your insights and tips have been extremely meaningful to all of us. Over the last year, we have all attended a lot of webinars, but nothing like this one. I mean, I personally couldn't stop taking notes. If you saw, I was constantly scribbling, and there's just so much I learned from this. I just want to sum up a few key points that I had quickly written down. First, about being mindful. I love your point of view about being mindful, about taking care of ourselves, about prioritizing our health and our body. The topics on real food, home cooked food, all of that has, I mean, it'll go a long way in helping us make sure that we and our families stay healthy. My favorite bit was when you said that we are more intelligent than COVID. I think we didn't realize that till you didn't say it to us and till you didn't say it to our audience. And that is something that I think everybody today will go away with. We are smarter than the disease. We just need to protect ourselves and not be paranoid by the disease. So thank you so much for that tip. I think that was something great. Friends, another very important topic that came up was all about health, not just about physical health, but mental and emotional health also. Tina spotlighted on that in a big way, and we need to be aware that mental and emotional health are also health problems, and we need to be able to identify them and know when we are unwell, because I think that is something that we need to take away from. And I mean, stop living in fear of COVID. We need to restart life. We need to restart life cautiously, especially. The travel enthusiast in me was tying this back to tourism constantly, and I was checking out a few facts and interesting details. And I must tell you, I think wellness tourism is going to be the mode of tourism in the future. It's going to be all about wellness tourism, and that's going to be where we are going to restart. All holidays, everyone who plans something, they all ask about sustainable, safe, solidarity. All of that is what everyone's asking about. And to all my travel industry friends, every time you are saying, you ask us about when will the transformation come, when will the kickstart come? The kickstart is here. The kickstart is wellness tourism. I don't think anybody is asking you for a discounted holiday any longer. I think now it's all about a safe holiday. So all of you, this is what we need to now start focusing on. Just a quick research, I found out that the wellness tourism industry is expected to be a $919 billion industry next year. So can you imagine how much money is waiting to be made by all of us in the industry? So I thought that was something very interesting and very nice. Thank you, Dr. Manjari. Next, I would just quickly want to thank Mrs. Mayal, Tina, and Manchu. It's their leadership and how they handled this session that made it as great as it was. And with this, we just fostered the spirit of collaboration and partnership. Tina came in, supported this cause. So this is the way the industry is going to move forward. We are all going to need each other, and we will have to help each other because we all want to help grow our sector and our industry together. So thank you all. Thank you for that. A big shout out to Prabhlur Monga and the International Fraternity of Medical Students. Guys, it's so nice for you to come forward and want to be part of our initiative. Thank you so much for being with us. And finally, I would like to thank our most important guests, our audience. You have been our strength, and all the participants here. I mean, this is one of the first webinars that I've attended. Till 12 o'clock, I was letting people into the room. So like till the absolute end of the webinar, people kept on coming in and joining, being part of our webinar. It's because of your participation that you make this so important and meaningful. So thank you so much. Thank you to our WITT family, the women in TAAI and Travel. We are working on a platform together to help support and empower and connect women and encouraging a safe and supportive business environment. Today is our first session, and today we wanted to focus on you, the women, and we wanted you to prioritize your health and before we get into more business discussions. So thank you for being here and thank you for supporting us. I know a lot of you are here with us today. So thank you so much for that. And with this, I'd like to draw to a close. Thank you all.
Thank you, Devika.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Devika. Thank you, Dr. Chandra.
Thank you, Dr. Manjari. It's been a lovely session.
No, it's a pleasure, Dr. Talwar. Thank you so much for facilitating it. And thank you, Devika. Thank you, Mrs. Mahal. Thank you, Tina. I'd just like to say one small line
Of course.
before we end. the bonhomie of eating a good meal with your family and friends is any day more therapeutic than sitting in a corner and eating your salad. It will never help you, you know. So think before you eat your salad, what is it going to do to you? So eat your salads, but do not miss out on meeting the right people and making the right social interactions, because that's more therapeutic, really.
So that's cheers to tourism. We need to
Absolute goosebumps. Thank you.
on that
Thank you.
track.
Take care.
We are out.
Bye-bye. Bye.
And we'll take Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Everyone.
Jyoti.
Thank you.